that goes beyond just being this encyclopedia of information, because that makes you a trusted source, a trusted advisor.
Hello, my friends. You're in the right place. This is the Video Dadcast. I'm Darrell Stevens, your video dad, and I wanted to share with you a conversation that I had recently with my good buddy Kevan Smith over in the UK, who is a videographer, photographer, an amazing guy, knows a lot about a lot of things, but I was having some issues and I needed some help. So let's join this conversation.
Coming in. All right.
Hey, Kevin, I hate to interrupt you, but I just got this thing that I just ran up against and I need your help with it. And you've got the eye, you've got the camera knowledge. So I've got this camera and I got a new lens, which I really like. It's a 30 millimeter lens, and it's a Sigma, and it's a f1.4. So I know that didn't mean anything to me a few years ago, but it is it's an aperture that allows you to get the background out of focus, usually, right? I mean, what people call the bokeh effect. Here's my issue with this lens. It lets in all the light. So if I have the F down around the 1.4 mark and I'm trying to record my interview and it's a well lit room. In fact, it's got big windows, it's got sunlight coming in, and it's just like it's too bright. And it's like, but I would want the background to be out of focus. What are my choices?
I normally start off with supplementary lighting. I
Okay.
love just lighting in general,
Hmm.
and so when you are able to balance available light, natural light, with like I've got a couple of studio lights
Hmm.
here, and I just have so many to choose from. That gives you the ability to balance what's the light that's falling on your subject with the rest of the scene,
Okay.
which also gives you the flexibility of maybe bumping your shutter speed up. And I know we
Okay.
normally want to stick to the 180-degree rule,
Okay.
but
And
in a
that one,
pinch, and
I learned that's an important one too. And let's talk about that real quick. So if you are shooting at, let's say I shoot at 30 frames per second, what does that mean in regards to shutter speed? What would be the 180-degree rule?
yeah, you'd want to more or less double your shutter speed. So
Okay.
1/60th of a second would
Okay.
be it's that filmic look. It gives just enough motion blur with the clarity, so your subject can move around, and it
Okay.
has this pleasing in the direction of cinematic look to
Okay.
it. So ideally, you want to stick to 180-degree shutter. If
Okay.
you start getting odd, so if you had some, like you're shooting at 1/30th, and if you were shooting your shutter speed at something like let's see what does not go into like 1/50th maybe,
Mm.
then you're going to get a bit of a judder because
Okay.
the way that the way that film gates work
Hmm.
is such that you want the frame to be perfectly in the center at the same time as it's letting the full bit of light in from the shutter
Okay.
opening. And when you don't have those synced up so that
Hmm.
they can be divided into one another, then you'll get partial frames from one, and it'll just have
Okay.
this slightly juddery. So even though
Okay.
180 degrees is optimal, say if you like, I shoot over here in the UK at 25 frames per second.
Okay.
So normally I would have a shutter speed of 1/50th, but I
Okay.
could go at 1/200th if I
Oh,
really needed to
okay.
knock the light down. Now it's going to make me look slightly more realistic, or more sharp in a way. Won't
Okay.
be as soft or blurry, but it'll still evenly divide into like 25
Okay.
is what 8. So that's, as opposed to 1/2, it's 1/8, and
Okay.
that'll still give you full frames, but just more kind of definition. So for an
Okay. And
interview, if
you
someone's
don't
static,
get weird artifacts in the movement.
yeah, that's what I was just about to say. If someone's static, then you can get away with it, but it's
Okay.
something that I rarely do. Like I don't
Hmm.
usually do that. But
Right.
in any circumstance, I love balancing supplementary light with natural light,
Okay.
and then that goes to your neutral density filter. And so if you put a
Okay.
filter on, that knocks the light in the whole room down. And you can get them so that they go by one stop increments or one third stop increments.
Okay.
And you can have some that you can adjust by twisting them, or some that are just one, set amount of darkness to it.
Okay.
And
Anyway,
when you combine a
I've
neutral,
heard it explained that a neutral density filter or ND filter, it's kind of like sunglasses for your camera. Is that
that's a
right?
perfect way of thinking about an ND
Okay.
filter. And it's just a way of giving you that option of using, that big, beautiful, kind of wide open aperture,
Okay.
in spite of it being, maybe it could be midday sun, and
Hmm.
you still want to isolate your subject from the background by having the background blurred and out of
Mm.
focus. And that ND filter will give you that option. And
Okay.
if you couple a nice ND filter with a little bit of supplementary lighting, then you could have a really beautiful cinematic studio lit scene that looks
Nice.
quite natural. So
That's perfect. That's what I'm looking for my interviews. So I'll do that. And then I've heard, so you got the fixed filters that are like a specific number, like ND2. I guess it's two
yeah.
times the darkening, or I guess, I don't know what the two means.
Well, they go by stops of light, and if
Okay.
you once you start fiddling around with your camera, and you say, so this lens is f1.4.
Hmm.
Now, if you want to take that down one stop, you would click. Normally, they're in one third increments.
Okay.
So if you're going to close your aperture a bit, then the first click will take you to 1.6, then 1.8, and then 2.0.
Okay.
So 2.0, f 2.0, or your aperture 2.0, is one stop darker than f 1.4.
Okay.
And so if you had an ND, I think I use an ND, maybe an ND4, maybe.
Hmm.
And so if the brightness in that room meant that you should be shooting at f5.6, just to make it so that everything's not all blown out,
Okay.
well, to get around going down to f5.6, you just put your ND filter on your 1.4 lens, and it'll make the camera think that it has the amount of light that would be at f5.6, but you still get the look of that really shallow depth of field.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's great. And it's all crazy math, I know. And I guess once you understand, it's like, and that's what always threw me. It's like the aperture number. It's like the smaller the number, the wider the aperture. It's like, wait, you're confusing me. But I know what a friend of mine had what he called a pinhole camera, tiny, tiny hole. And it would just expose, he would put a piece of, exposure paper or something on the wall. And then through this little pinhole, it would expose onto the paper, but everything was in sharp focus because it was such a tiny hole. So that's how I always remember it. That little pinhole, everything's in focus.
Mm.
And a big one, not everything's in focus. You have to be real careful where your focus is. And that's what's good about, my camera and all the modern cameras have a really good autofocus. Some are better than others. Some are a little laggy or a little slow, but mine does it pretty quickly. But I like that. And it'll focus on the eyes. And as long as my subject's eyes are in focus, I always feel pretty good about that.
Well, speaking about eyes, I think about aperture like your like your
Okay.
pupil, not your iris. And as when it's really bright, then your eye wants to close up, so because
Right.
it's too bright to let in all
That's
that
true.
light. But once you go into a dark room, then yeah, your pupil really dilates quite a lot
Mm,
to let in all of the light. And so yeah, that's the way that cameras work the exact same. It's a lens in your eye and it's a lens in your camera, and they have to really, really, make a tiny, tiny hole if there's a whole lot of light in the room. But when you have that tiny hole, then everything that it captures will be in focus more or less,
okay.
front to back. Whereas the wider that aperture, then it's only going to be able to focus on one very narrow plane, and you'll need it to be fairly dark, or else it's just going to be too intense for your camera, your sensor to pick up.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's a really good analogy. Okay, so we've got the main settings for the camera, and I only shoot video. I rarely do photography, but I know I've got the aperture, the f-stop. I've got the shutter speed. I've got ISO. For me, I'm shooting at 30 frames per second generally. So I keep my shutter speed at 1/60. So I've got that double the number. And then I want my aperture as wide as possible so I can get that out of focus of the background and more focus on my subject. And then I adjust ISO last to bring it to that right level. And my camera tells me if it's zero or whatever, if it's not too bright or too dark. That's kind of where I want it, or slightly under too bright, or slightly under zero is usually where I do it. So the ISO, is that something you should tweak last, or am I doing it in the right order, or what's going on here?
Well, that depends on how much you're into color grading.
Mm,
And me personally, I film everything in a log profile,
okay.
or sometimes I film it raw so that I have that latitude
Okay.
to do lots of editing and really finesse
Mm-hmm.
my output so that it looks pristine
Mm-hmm.
and really kind of beautiful. And so when you are really into your color grading, you tend to want to use the base ISO that the camera shoots in. So a
Okay.
lot of cameras nowadays, they have two base ISOs. So mine has an ISO of 800 and 4000.
Okay.
And so typically I will do everything I can to keep my ISO so that the exposure is perfect, while having an ISO that's set into one of those native ISOs.
Okay.
And that's where your neutral density filters can really help you out.
Mm,
But if you're doing run and gun, or if it's not a critical color grade situation, then there's nothing wrong with taking your ISO all the way down to 100, even if you need to.
mm,
But that's going to introduce more noise into your image
okay.
compared to than if you were shooting at one of the base ISOs of the camera.
Okay.
So it just depends on whether you're not going to color you're going to color grade, and if you're happy with having a little bit more noise, mostly in your shadows. That's one of the downsides of using ISOs that are not native to the camera.
Okay. In the old days, in you and I go back a little ways. So when we're shooting with film on a still camera, and they had ISO 100, which was great for sunny outdoor days, and then they had 200 if it's a little darker or you're shooting indoors some, and then they had 400. And so is it still kind of like that, where the higher the number is better for low light situations?
I was never a film photographer,
Okay, okay.
but yes, I
You've
mean
always done digital.
yeah, you are correct. But I don't know that it comes with that same downside
Mm,
that because you'll have a noisy image if you shoot
that's what I
with
was
ISO
thinking.
100
Okay.
or with ISO 6400,
Okay.
or maybe ISO 2000, because none of those are native to
Okay.
the none of those are the base ISOs of the camera. So it's not like a linear kind of
Okay.
scale. It's all based on, there are usually two ISOs with modern cameras, sometimes three, where you will get the cleanest image, and anything after that, it's just the camera doing a computation. And
Okay.
so yeah, it's any ISO outside of your native ISO is
You can
it's not how the camera.
introduce noise, a little bit of
It
graininess
introduces
maybe.
noise.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Not in a way that, unless you're really pixel peeping
Hmm.
or putting something out for commercial purposes,
Yeah.
very few people are gonna notice.
Got it.
But,
Well, and
when
two,
you're a
once
perfectionist
you
with
go
your image.
down generations and end up on social media or something, nobody can tell anyway. I mean, some people are
Yeah.
such, oh, I've got to shoot 4K and it's got to be this and everything. It's like, yeah, but it's going to get all messed up when you post it. So it's never going to be like you're perfect. You're recording there. Uh, if you go on YouTube or TikTok or anywhere, it's going to process it, and the more processing that is done, the more noise it can add. So sometimes you just have to get over yourself and just post it anyway. Like, I know it's not
Yeah.
going to be perfect, but generally some of the stuff you see up there, they don't even care the quality level that they're putting out. Now, you and I have a little bit more, we kind of do this professionally, so we're a little more tuned into, oh, it's got to look really, really good. But I'll be honest, I've posted some things before that is like, never would I have done that in the past, but it was fine. It's like I had this piece of information I wanted to get out, and I did it in the quickest way possible. Just shot it on my phone, and threw no extra lights or anything. Just threw it out there, and it was the message. So the message that I was
Yes.
putting out is what got people watching it, and that's okay. But it's still hard for me to not want it to be perfect. Oh no, I can take it and tweak it a little bit, make it look a little better, but that's just me, and that's not what they want.
I think it's if you on the flip side, if you have like a very expensive product
Hmm.
and you have a landing page or a sales page that's promoting that product, then that's something that you do want
Hmm.
to be captured in really pristine
Right.
conditions and showcased as brilliantly as possible.
Hmm.
And it depends on the part of the journey where the viewer is coming in. And so if they're just getting used to you or meeting you for the first time,
Hmm.
then you don't have to show up in a three-piece suit,
Right.
dressed to the nines in terms of your content. You can just be approachable, down to earth, and relatable. And
Hmm.
iPhone or just phone camera makes very relatable content because everyone has it and they've seen it and we're all
Hmm.
comfortable with it. But
Yeah.
if you're at the point of a relationship or with your audience where you're asking them to commit or to fork over some of their hard-earned cash,
Hmm.
then it's more likely that they're going to want to see a really professional representation of what
Yes.
you're offering. And yeah, there's just different stages of the journey, and different
Right.
types of content suit themselves for each different stage.
Yeah. And I think it's what holds people up sometimes from putting something out there is they don't feel like it's going to be perfect. People people no longer really judge you on the basis of the quality of the the stuff that you're putting, again, as long as the message is good. Now, if neither the quality nor the message is good, then that's sorry. Nobody's going to pay attention. But you gotta put something out there that people are interested in seeing or hearing or learning about. And learning the hard way, it's not about you, it's about them. So I have posted a lot of videos. By the way, I just wanted to share with you, I now have 1 million views on my videos across all my platforms, which I'm super excited
Rockstar.
about. It's not on
That's
YouTube.
impressive.
YouTube, maybe it's not the least, but I do have a lot on TikTok. But I'm just so excited that I can say I have 1 million views.
That's a
Now,
lot. That means a lot.
view numbers aren't everything, but hey, it means a lot to me. So it's good. But uh, I don't even know where I was going before I went off on that little tangent. But it's people do get caught up in that, and I think that if people are willing to let their guard down and not be so overly worried about how it's going to look or sound or feel, and put their heart in it, and oh, I know where I was going with it. So many times in the beginning, I made videos that I wanted to see. It's like, okay, this is a topic. I just learned something about this. I need to make a video about it. And really, it helped me. And it helped a lot of people because I've gotten comments on this like, this is great. This is I've never heard anybody explain this so concisely, so short, because I was doing all shorts. In fact, I tried to do a long video early on after doing, I don't know, 100 shorts. And it's like, wow, I just did a long form video and it's 1 minute and 3 seconds. It was just, I was just in that mode where let me get the message out quickly. But, at some point it's like I'm trying to listen to other people. What are they asking for? What do they want to learn about? A lot of mine are about Premiere Pro because I do editing in Premiere Pro and I'm comfortable with it. And I've learned so much. And those are the tips that I wanted to share. But also, it's like, well, how do you upload this on TikTok? Or can you change your cover after you've done it? That's probably the biggest video that I have. But once I started making videos more for what they wanted to see rather than what I wanted to give, they were received a little better. And I think so. It's hard to stop making it about yourself and make it about your audience, but it's very important.
And I think that one of the easiest ways to make sure you're doing that is to make content based off of some of the best conversations that you've had.
Mm,
And when there's been some conversation that either, captured your attention, or someone that you spoke to came away feeling like they'd really grown from what you shared,
mm,
then that means that other people like them are likely at that same stage of their journey and could use that information and will find it interesting.
true.
And it's so easy to get pulled into this celebrity type influencer mind frame where we
Mm,
want to appeal to tens of thousands or more people at the same time.
hmm
But the fact is that very few of us have a product or a personality
hmm
that's meant to appeal to that many people.
Right.
And when we can just hone in on our tribe, on the people who can benefit from what we know and what we're passionate about,
Mhm.
then we can make content that makes a difference, as opposed to just making content that makes us feel like, we're accomplished or some kind of celebrity. That's usually not what any one of us are actually aiming for.
Right. Right. And I kind of never wanted to be in that category of people that just, I'm an influencer. Look at me, and it's all about me. It really is all about me helping other people figure things out, things that I've struggled with. And it's like, here's what I came across. It's a great solution. I'm going to share it. So, yeah, no, this is a really good point. Having a big audience doesn't mean everything. In fact, you kind of usually want a smaller audience. You want to appeal to the people that are, very specific, or want to know a specific thing, or if you have a niche, you want to kind of stick with that, and keep feeding those people, keep giving them what they need. And it can be a fun journey. It's tough. I've been doing this for a while, and I went on a hiatus. I mean, I just stopped posting content just because I I got burnt out. It's too much, because I was trying to put out 3 pieces a week, and it just got to be a little overwhelming coming up with the ideas, and it became a chore. And it's like, I don't want this to be a chore. I want it to be fun. I want it to be fun and helpful at the same time. So uh, I'm trying to get to the point where I'm getting back in the game, and start to put out some more stuff. But and more of a variety of things, because I was kind of down a very narrow path too. And it's like doesn't fulfill me. I've got more things to offer, so I want to play around with that too, and start doing fun conversations with people like you, and uh, just enjoy the ride.
And what's enjoyable about it, for me at least, is relationships, is building
Mm.
relationships and having interesting conversations.
Yes.
And for me, those two things never go out of style. And I think when we approach our content from this perspective of, either wanting to kind of be, quite entertaining, or have something that, like, wow, they learned so much, and now everybody's showing up because they see me as this kind of guru. That's tough to sustain.
It
And I think
is.
most of us who create content, especially around the technical side, we've all come up against it.
Hmm.
And but moving more towards, kind of, yeah, relationship building,
Mm.
and just starting great conversations,
Yeah.
that is something that's energizing. And that's really what my switch has been. That's helped me to, I don't put out content nearly as consistently as
Hmm.
I used to, but when I do put out something, it's because it's an interesting topic or
Hmm.
something that I know people in my audience or in my orbit, they're going to, latch on to. And
Yeah.
we're going to really have a great conversation on the other side of it. So,
That's good. Yeah. I kind of learned that myself too. It's like, I don't have to put out that many pieces of content every single week. It's just spend a little more time on the quality stuff, the stuff that people are going to relate to. And, like you say, build relationships, build a community.
and also, it's, I don't know how much you're using AI, but we have to kind of accept this reality that people can find out information
Hmm.
really easily now,
Sure.
and we don't have to have this image of knowing everything and showing up and giving everyone this roadmap to
Yeah.
success, because they can access it otherwise, and that makes the value of human connection increase considerably.
Yeah.
So when you can put out content where a person feels in touch with you, and why you show up online, and you can help them with some of the kind of maybe the things that you were blind to at some points,
Hmm.
and they can have that sense of connection, then that goes beyond just being this encyclopedia of information, because that makes you a trusted source, a trusted advisor,
Hmm.
and almost like a mentor in a sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we have to really maybe reassess how we put out content and why, and focusing on building relationships and just being an earnest, genuine person.
Yeah.
That is incredibly valuable now. So I think we have to lean into being our true selves more.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And I'll be honest, I when I started putting the content out, I didn't really want to be the the person who knows everything there is to know about editing in Premiere Pro or whatever it was. I just wanted to overall kind of help people make the process easier so that they'll go make videos. Just make videos and don't make it hard. So that's what I want to do. But yeah, I didn't want to become such a super technical, um, encyclopedia. It just wasn't something I wanted to do, and nor be known just for that. Because there's plenty of people out there that are better than me at Premiere or at whatever. I like to watch Premiere Gal videos. She's amazing. She's like
Kelsey.
she's the expert. It's like, okay, yeah,
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 shout
yeah.
out Kelsey. I'm a huge fan myself.
Yeah, so I've learned most of what I need to know from her. So those are all good. And again, it's not a competition. I'm not trying to compete with anybody that's out there. I'm just trying to say, hey, here's what I know. Let me share it, and share it with my own personality. And it's just my viewpoint on it and stuff. And I think that's fun. And it keeps it fun. If it's not fun, again, I'm not going to do it because I've taken some time off and not done as much. So once it gets to be not fun, then that's when I draw the line.
What about LinkedIn? I don't know. I love LinkedIn. So when you're talking about
LinkedIn's
not wanting to
great.
be this encyclopedia of knowledge, I would say that LinkedIn is one of those areas where, I have always, been really enthusiastic about sharing my approach, or hopefully giving other people the confidence to show up and
Hmm.
build a brand and their business through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But I find that I've not been hanging out on LinkedIn
Mm.
very much this year, mostly because I've just had a lot of projects. I have a lot of other work, and I'm doing more public speaking
Hmm.
now. But I still believe that LinkedIn is one of the best investments that you can make in your brand.
Yeah. And that's where you and I met. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
we became friends through LinkedIn, and we commented on each other's content and stuff. So it just kind of grew from there. But that's right; it's such a great platform, and it's so different than the social media platforms. You get more of a professional level, people on there, I think, or they're not on there to spew their political beliefs as much, or some things like that, or I don't see as many negative comments about other people than that you may see on the other platforms. So I think that's great. Kind of people keep it a little on a little more positive vibe, and that's critical these days. It's like there's so much
Yeah,
negative
it's
around.
good vibe.
Can we just keep it positive, people? And people are encouraging. They'll always encourage each other, and I definitely try to do that myself. It's when somebody posts something about something they've just accomplished or done, I usually try to give them a good attaboy and everything. I think it's just important. People need to be uplifted rather than downtrodden. It's so
Mhm.
crazy out there, but that's good. Yeah, LinkedIn is a great platform, and LinkedIn is where I've gotten several of my clients, through word of mouth, through others. I had a cheerleader on there early on that was like, "Hey, you got to use Darrell. He's great," and I got people, through that. So I love LinkedIn. So that's definitely shout out to that platform as being, one of the best for garnering relationships and all that for sure.
It's a great place to both build relationships and also to find your voice, because it is that safe space, like you
Yeah.
say. And between LinkedIn, I also really like testing out my videos on TikTok,
Hmm.
and I think that's maybe more so from, do I feel like I got, the hook right? Or,
Mm.
does it have kind of the elements of maybe of retention, or is it a trending topic?
Hmm.
Is this something that's current? And I get a lot of great feedback, or I start lots of great conversations on TikTok, and
Nice.
a lot of times that's when I know, okay, I want to take this topic to my primary audience, either on Instagram or LinkedIn,
Yeah.
because there's been a bit of a buzz on TikTok, and I'll get so much insight.
Yeah.
I get loads of insight through the comment section on TikTok. So I'd say for me, for anyone who's a little bit intimidated of posting their first videos, then really consider both LinkedIn and TikTok. And the
Hmm.
good thing about TikTok is that you can make, like a dozen accounts if you want to.
Mm.
So you can test out different approaches on
Okay.
different accounts.
Yeah.
And it's just a good way to get some feedback.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I've enjoyed TikTok too. I've gotten a lot of good, rapport through people, watching my videos and stuff. And it's always funny because, I'm video like a dad. People just call me dad. And thanks, Dad. So I just posted, this is great. This is just what I was looking for. Thanks, Dad. It's like, you're welcome.
I
We
gotta find you on TikTok. Yeah, I've not seen you on there.
Yeah, yeah. It may be my biggest platform as far as number of views and things like that. Um, I enjoy it, and I spend way too much time watching videos on TikTok. And I really like some of the musical things and stuff. There's a lot of people. I love good vocal harmonies, and there's some amazing people that post their stuff on there, and I'll spend hours scrolling through these,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
it's
so
ridiculous.
funny.
I'll look at the clock like, why did I just do that? Why does my neck hurt,
Yeah,
from leaning
been
over
there.
looking at this? So it's all good. But yeah, it's a fun platform. Hopefully it sticks around. We'll see what happens. But there's been that roller coaster ride of, is it going to stay? Is it going to go? Is it going to stay? But again, not all platforms last forever too. There's been plenty who
Yeah.
have come and gone. And uh, what I see a lot of people doing is like invest in growing your email list. Make sure that build your own, audience through your community that you own, whatever platform it may be on, because you could, I know Facebook recently shut down a lot of groups, um, out of the blue. It's like, oh no, people had to scramble that had a group on Facebook. So there's all kind of things that can go wrong, and I have not amassed a large number of people, but if I did, I'd be probably concerned about that. If I had 10,000 followers on some platform and it just went away overnight, it's like that might punch me in the gut a little bit. But I don't get too concerned about numbers of people. I just want the right people seeing my stuff, and people who are interested in it and relate to it. But I do want to try to build more of a community through email and through newsletters and stuff. I did a newsletter again for a while and got stopped doing it just out of the blue, and I need to get back into doing that. But I want to have something interesting to say. I don't want to just put something out because it's okay, it's the first of the month or whatever. I know monthly isn't very a good pace at releasing newsletters. You should do more weekly or something, but I don't have something interesting to say every week, I don't think. So it just depends on what I want to do
Yeah,
with that.
I've made a push, or made it my focus this year too, to build my email list,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's a great investment, but that time
Time. It's
and
all about
exactly what you say,
time.
I just don't have that much that I want to talk about,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah. And I let time
But
get away from me with stupid things, but I'm trying to be more focused. Yeah, I try to look at my calendar that I've written everything on it that I need to accomplish this week, and try not to skip too many of the things or push them aside for something that's more important. This is more important. I got to get this done. Usually not. So far, so good. I'm enjoying the ride. I never thought I would
yeah,
be my own boss and be an entrepreneur and have my own company and doing that. Um, and I'm not great at it. I'll admit, it's especially the selling. I'm just not good at that. But I do enjoy uh, being able to call the shots myself and answer to myself, and that's good. And the relationships I've built over the clientele that I've gotten is just great, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I hope you're in the same boat where you really enjoy the clientele that you have.
I do, and I love that the projects are getting bigger, and that the people who are showing their faith in me, they could go with other options,
Hmm.
but they're confident, and they put their trust in me, and a lot of that comes down to the foundation that I've established online,
Hmm.
and having a library of videos where I kind of showcase my knowledge, or I do
Hmm.
my best to add value, or
Yeah.
I showcase my values. That's also another really big part of your online identity,
Hmm.
and that's what makes it so easy to speak to just the right audience, as opposed to trying to appeal to 10,000 or
Yeah.
100,000, kind of people on TikTok, when you know precisely the type of person who'll benefit from your expertise and skill set. Then you can just communicate to them, and you can do
Hmm.
so very confidently, and you can do that consistently, and
Yeah.
it's not about engagement at that point. Now it's about the trust building exercise and relationship building, and having that foundation where people can trace your work back for years at
Mm.
some point, and they'll see that you've always stood on those values, or you've
Yeah.
always communicated that this solution is something that makes a difference for this type of client. And that really helps you to attract the right people
Yes.
into your orbit.
Yeah, for sure. And that's important. If it's not a good fit, it's just like pulling teeth trying to do a project with somebody that you just don't gel with, and you don't want to attract the wrong people.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's nice to have a little bit of content to play with, because I've been trying to figure out, like, oh, I need to get it to post again, and then no inspiration.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon there's a at least a line or two in here that I could share, and
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, just get back out there, because yeah, it's hard thinking about like
It
ideas.
is.
And
And that's what the thing was for me. It's like I was putting out so many videos. It's like, what am I even gonna I got no ideas. And it's almost always inspired right when I can't figure something out and I have to look it up. It's like, all right, now I'm going to make a video of that because I had to look it up. If I have to
there
look
you
it
go.
up, I'm going to make a video. And it's a good source of content, but it's like I was again 3 videos a week I was trying to post, and it's like on certain days, and I'm on the day that I'm supposed to be posting. It's like I have no clue. I don't even know what I want to talk about. And then something would just pop up, some sort of inspiration. It's like, all right, I'll just do that. And it helped that I was doing them so short. So
Yeah.
if it's 30 seconds or less than a minute, it's like, great. It's good. In and out, I'm done. And that made it a little bit easier. But I do know that you get a lot more interaction with longer form videos. And I know I need to do that. And I see some people that what? They've been rambling for an hour, and people are watching, and a lot of people are watching. It's like, I can't ramble for an hour. I can have a conversation with somebody for a while, but me just talking, I'm not so good at that. That's why all my videos are pretty short. But
Lean into your strength.
you have a gift. You have the ability to be able to eloquate, to be able to talk about something, intelligently and because you're passionate about it. It's something that you have
I
inside
get
you.
fired up.
It's inside you. It's got to come out. And so that's what's good. I don't do that. If I start rambling, I start getting weird. I start talking about weird things, and no, nobody wants to see that. But thanks, my friend. I appreciate it. It's good spending some
It's been a
time with
pleasure.
you. Always fun, and we see each other on LinkedIn from time to time. It's like, no, let's have a conversation on camera. Let's do this. Since we're both
Yeah.
video guys, let's just do it the right way. And so it's been
Oh,
fun.
man, thanks for asking. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
And you have another question? Just come ask Kevin.
All right, I'll ask Kevin. All right, man. Appreciate it. I will talk
All right,
to you
Jeff. Take care,
soon.
man.
All right, you too.
Alrighty.
Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel and go check out videolikeadad.com where you can sign up for my free newsletter and check out my sweet merch. There's all kind of stuff going on up in here. Look me up on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I am Video Like a Dad. Be kind to one another. We'll see you again soon.